vehicle and markers taken, 1020.
Upper Hot Springs parking lot.
Well,
Secret results. You ready? And 28 comes back on a brown model is Alpha Lima Charlie, 2007. Vehicle registered to someone out of Lorette, Manitoba. I've got a Manitoba DL. I could try for a 21.
Yeah. You're the DOB for the individual from 29 up. Otherwise, I'll pick up the visit when I get back to the office.
No DOB. I'll try the 27 for the DOB.
Good morning. I was going to say Vietnam, but Eric Moss is from Banff. I'm in Philadelphia, probably far from Banff. Got a bunch of rock climbing questions for you, Joe. Okay, knock them off, man. Let's just do that. Rock climbing season's coming up. Eric Moss, Philadelphia. Do you know Rocky? Do you ever run up those stairs just for a workout and then to like bounce around like this? Totem cams, worth the money. Tricams, applications. What do you mean by tricams? Do you mean those little pointy freaking things that bend? You know, like the ones that are a solid piece of metal? Or are you talking about the small camming devices? Oh yeah, I'd be doing that every day. I'd be running through the neighborhood, you know, dodging the fish market guys and with my dog, and up the stairs I'd go. The pointy, bendy things. I don't, you know what? I don't trust those fucking things as far as I can throw them. The only one I've ever seen I saw one jammed one time, and it, you know, it was there on the Grand Sentinel. It's whatever, like 4-pitch sort of tower that's freestanding, and it had been there for years. And then this chick was climbing with. I wasn't climbing with. I was with a group, another two people, a couple. She goes, takes a whipper off of this thing. Didn't put any more pro, and the thing just like pulled out like it wasn't even there. Problem with those things that roll over is that the concentration of force is in such a small area that it could either, you know, move the rock, like make it wider, you know, if it's not firmly in place, or else it'll shatter the rock. And if it's just a plate or even limestone, I mean, you could break limestone like it isn't even there. So I don't, you know what? I personally don't use them. I use the cams and like the little whatever tri-cams with the three, but those with the three knobs, I think that's to get into narrower cracks, right? So if you get a shallow crack or something, not narrower per se, but I mean shallower, so that you can't get like a 4-cam thing in there, you can slide in 3 cams and let it expand, and you'll have at least 3 good placements in there. So I think that's the use of them. Otherwise, I'll just use Camelots. And as far as other cams go, I go with the Black Diamond, and I just redid all my rack with those ultralight cams, and fuck, those things make a difference. Well, I don't see them. You know, I don't find them to be all that great. I know some guys like freaking Chris Miller. He raves about them. He thinks they're the greatest things in the. I wouldn't have them on my rack, man. I wouldn't even give them the time of day. I'd give them to my worst enemy. I'd give him a whole rack of them. I could probably go down to the gear store and get a, you know, whatever, a full set for like $5. Well, it's favorite knot. Yeah, no, I only tie in with the figure 8, right? Like I fucking think that whole Yosemite bowline thing is whatever, bogus. And then guys saying they can't undo it. Well, fuck, man up. If you can climb 514, you can undo a knot, because if I can do it, I haven't got the hand strength of you guys. So there is only one knot, and it's easy to check. It's easy to manage. It's safe. You can't fuck it up. And even if you did fuck it up, because there's so many bends in it, but there's no reason to. I mean, a figure of 8, right? A snowboarder could frickin' do that knot. Do you use a Grigri sort of blade? I use a Grigri at the crag for sure, you know, quite often. And then my daughter, who's 13 now, she uses a Grigri. If we go on a multi-pitch sport climb or something, I have her tied in with or she's using a Grigri because they can manage it, and then she's tied into the anchor, of course. And all the routes we do have bolted anchors, so I'm not too worried about it. Picks her up. Even if she panics, there's nothing can go wrong. But, you know, I generally don't pick routes I'm going to freaking take whippers on with my 13-year-old. And I switch blade devices depending on the application. So if I'm in the Alpine, I might not even take a blade device. There's lots of, a munter hitch will get me through most of the stuff that I'm actually going to use it for. Probably a lightweight sort of stitch plate typey thingy, air traffic controller or something like that. That's pretty useful for its weight. It has lots of applications and can easily set up for self-rescue and things like that. So yeah, I just mix and match. If weight isn't an issue, then I'll just go with the Grigri. But if I'm going to climb Athabasca or something like that, I'm not too sure I'd even use a blade device. Mount Temple, there isn't too much there. I couldn't get by without a light, so I'm always going light. Do you take the paint off the outside of the camos? Fuck no. Who fucking does that? You're like my wife, dude. Take the fucking skin off the mushrooms, sort of thing. No, I wouldn't worry about it. To make a better grip, nah. Don't worry, if it's gonna blow because of the paint, it's your day to die anyhow. Ain't nothing gonna save you, paint or not. That's a good one. I like that. I don't know too much rock that would whatever. A thin layer of paint's gonna stop it, let it slide out. But anyhow, if it makes you feel better, get your sandpaper out and knock yourself out. Maybe it's what's gonna save your bacon. Who knows? My suggestion to you is just start running those stairs more often. Yeah, get all rocky-ish. Go beat some meat. Speaking of this girl, a woman, runs by every day on jogging. It just reminds me how much I need to start getting out. The bike season. I think we're going to have a bad fire year. All the hills I've been on are looking pretty dry. Well, I don't know. It depends on what because the snowpack is there. I mean, there's plenty of snow. So I think we were above average year that way. Although grass fires are already starting to happen down southern Alberta, which is never a good sign. I don't know. I don't really know. Like I was just saying the other day when we were coming back from Lake Louise that it's not a matter of if the town of Banff is going to get burnt to the ground. It is a matter of when is the town of Banff going to get burnt to the ground. Because this fire suppression for the last 150 years and ladder fuels in the forest and the density of the forest and the age of the forest, all you need is like just one thing, and then these winds can pick up so much. And there's no fire break around this town. The whole town, you look out my window, there's just like trees everywhere. And those trees run throughout the whole town. You get a couple of trees burning and get a couple of buildings going. We got us a party. Yeah, we've had some warm temps today. I know, they can't, there's no way, unless they want to spend some real money, like $500 million to build a fire break in this park. And then, they are trying. I mean, look at the side of Sulphur Mountain on the west side of it when you're coming back from somewhere, and it's just stripped bare. I see logs going down Main Street all the time, like these huge trucks full of logs. So spectacular adventures. I don't like Banff National Park. Too many restrictions, too many closures, not enough bridges. Well, somebody needs to go have a shot of scotch, don't they? Yeah, I know. I don't like it either. I mean, I do ignore quite a few of them because I can. But you don't know what you can get away with. Like if you live here, you realize that there's only 3 park wardens are the only ones who can do law enforcement for the entire park. Lake Louise, Banff, and Yoho. And they're not going to be flying out to get you anytime soon for any violation. It's not a major violation. Sometimes my daughter and I will go out and bivvy. We'll just go up high. I mean, I don't fill out all the forms and stuff, but it's all just part of the thing so that we can do it safely. But yeah, I get it. And they're crowded now, like you can't even get into places in Banff National Park. Moraine Lake and stuff, I hear now at 5:30 in the morning is freaking parking lot is full. So that means people are getting up and leaving Banff at 4:30 in the morning, 4:30, in big enough hordes, big enough groups to fill the entire parking lot down before the patrols, they close the thing. And I think they close it at like 6 or 7. Highway 1A access closed. Goodbye, Mount Corey. No, man, we went and climbed. We did that last year. You just got it. That's actually better. There's less people driving up to it, but you just take your bike, just drive to the end of the thing, or you can bike right from downtown. Take you about, I went yesterday, so it took me, 35 minutes from downtown Banff to get to the Mount Corey parking lot. They have paid parking in Banff, yeah. They're introducing it this year. And though as a local, though, we get a special permit where we can park downtown for a couple hours or something like that. But they got to do something. Like there's lots of free parking. You want to go downtown, you should pay to park because 5 minutes away, there's huge parking lots that are half full, that are 600 car parking lots, and they're only 5 minutes walk from downtown. So if you can't walk for 5 minutes to save yourself, whatever, $20, well, you're richer than I am. So I don't know. They got to do something though, dude. It can take, like 40 minutes to get across that one bridge downtown to get across the Bow River to the Banff Springs side. So, that's in the height of the summer. No, man, you just get fucking bike with a heavy, like, you just fucking man up. Exactly. If it's too tough for you, I guess you better stick to a place with lots of huts, good trails. My 13-year-old did it with her pack, and I just carried the rope. She carried the rack, and that was last year. So she was just turned 13, 12 in a month. So yeah, that keeps the wimps off the route, right? Perfect. And you can walk there in 25 minutes for you drive to the end of the thing and park at the 1A. And you can walk to where the parking lot was in about 20 minutes. And then just go up the hill and down and out. So it adds 40 minutes to your day. Stash a beer along the way. Put one in and keep cold beer in your car. Keep one at the bottom of the hill. Keep one in your pack for when you come off the route. Keep 4 for when you get to the top of the route. Swig them really quickly. Yeah, exactly. You could probably just rent one of those things. If you have, that's who's going to buy a kid trailer for a one-use thing, but you might be able to rent one in town if you're, oh, God. What about like when you're climbing Professors? You bike in all the way into there on your freaking bike with a lot heavier pack than you would for rock climbing, going sport climbing, like for a dozen draws. Instead of you got a dozen screws and racks, ropes, crampons, ice axes, helmets, lunch, 2 ropes probably. Yeah, I know. I don't know. I'm mixed feelings about the drones. The problem is that a lot of people, if they had an open season on drones, a lot of people aren't that responsible, right? They would exactly be doing that is like, oh, look at that grizzly bear. I'm going to get a drone shot of a grizzly bear. Get it up close. And fucking, they would do it too, right? So I don't know. Drones in the park. You know what? I've not used them in park. Nobody knows about this, and I'm not going to admit it. But like when I'm scoping a wall and I'm looking, trying to put up a route, for example, like over at Bow Falls or something like that, and I throw the drone up. There's nobody around. There's no helicopters or anything, and I just like take photos and just put it up another higher, you know, until it goes up, and so it can go up the whole length of the wall, and I get the in-depth photos of the um, wall, and then it's good for route planning. And Tunnel Mountains East Face is another classic place where you can do a little bit of scouting ahead. But I don't do that, but somebody could do that, if you know what I mean. Somebody, unscrupulous and whatever, doesn't mind breaking the law and going to prison for decades because of that. Well, you know what I think is, if you got a permit to fly it, then you would be admitting that you're a responsible user. So that if you did hear another aircraft in the area or something, then you'd bring your drone down, and that you would, make sure you use it in certain areas, and you can do it. Because it's such a shame, like you're on back top of some huge peak, like Temple or something like that, and you can't just get a flight around drone shot of yourself. And I know, and there's those little Mavics, like the Mavic Mini and stuff like that. They take great photos, eh? Like they take great video, and they've got good lenses, nice stabilizers that you get a nice panorama. And it would only take a minute or two, right? So I don't know.
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, like I say, man. Yeah, they're out. They 249 grams, 250 is the cutoff, wasn't it? To make it like a licensed aircraft sort of thing. So they went to the 249, 1 gram under. And I looked at some reviews of the things. I've killed 2 drones already, right? Death by water. So, and I'm looking at a 3rd one, but I mean, I've got to really up my drone game and be a lot more careful. Last time the controller wasn't working properly, and I just using my phone. We were out at paddling on the Churchill River, and there was this shooter rapids where kids were running in, this big called the Rooster Tail. And I thought, oh, here's batteries just about used up. I'll just go take a couple of shots, bring it in. But then it goes up and it goes, oh, and I didn't reset the home point to where I was standing. It went up in the air and I just flew it really quickly, and it reset its home point in the middle of the freaking rapids. And then when the battery went dead, I had this controller and I couldn't override the going to home point thing, and it freaking killed my drone. Yeah. Well, they do require, you know what? They say they don't require training, but they do. Running a drone properly does take some work. So I have found, as I say, I've had 1 Mavic, and then what was the other one? That smaller one though. I got the cheaper one, the $600 one, for my 2nd drone. Yeah. So anyhow, practice prior. Well, yeah, I know. You're supposed to practice prior, but who does that, right? It's like rock climbing. It's supposed to take lessons, but who does that? So we're going into a COVID lockdown here in Alberta. I don't know how that's going to affect the rest of the world. But it's certainly going to affect Banff area. Okay, mountain safety, new tab. Check the weather. So, if you're looking at the weather today, this is what we're expecting later this afternoon for precip coming in. It's already starting to come over. And temperatures must be cooling, eh? Yeah. So that's why the precip that this warm air mass is going to have an overlying colder air and that's going to drop some snow. And they're talking up fairly high, but towards morning it'll be freezing in the valley bottom, 2 to 4 centimeters in the Banff town site. So, and it's coming in from the north, so you can expect a lot more precip. Yeah, the basics are, but I like the software too. I like the follow stuff and the some of those options that you can have for running a drone. Yeah. And mountain safety. Alberta Health, yeah. Doing so Lake Sunshine, they're doing on-site COVID testing at the ski hills now. Or they're trying to anyhow. Alberta Health Services working with the operators of Lake Louise and Sunshine. Which is funny that they let those places stay open because look at all the cars in there. And I personally have been avoiding the ski hills. I just don't see, I'm not, of course, it's easy for me to say because I have options because I can go and do other things. Like ski touring. Ooh, not Curtis Pull. I have the option of doing something like this. So to go.
Given ones of Cammy and Vincent.
So that was from the other day when we were ski touring out of Skokie last weekend. I know, don't bash me for going to Skokie. Wasn't my idea. But I took advantage of it anyhow. So looking at this is where that fatality was for the other day on Mount Hato. Is it very accurate as to whereabouts? There's Shoal, there's Aberdeen. This is Hato.
Confirmed that 850811 for Vincent and 83.
So this is Hato right here. So this is on that side of that slope. That's up quite high, eh? See, we got the. This is Hato right here. So if they put that accurately, it's up in here somewhere, which is freaking high. Is that possible? It's a long ways in there, but that young guy is 24. Shouldn't be that big of an issue. I would have done that. Or something like that. Oh, be quiet, radio. Kind of looked like it was right here, eh? Windswept, south aspect, gets lots of sun, easy to put sun crust in there. Probably got some sort of layer sandwich going on in that area. Wind blowing here, so the area was fairly thin. It was only 40 to 60 centimeters thick. Quite a ways across though. And carried the guy. It must have been steep terrain, 600 meters, eh? It's 1,800 feet. Fuck, that's a long ways. Huh. Oh, that's pretty unfortunate. Parks is calling it considerable in the alpine low, tree line below. Changing overnight, will be snowing, colder, windy by Wednesday. This pattern continues for the weekend. Expect dry snow, wind slab, avalanches to form in the alpine, particularly north of Lake Louise on the Continental Divide. So yeah, with this storm that's coming through, there's going to be a lot of wind associated with it. So wind slabs are still a concern for everybody. Hold on here. I don't know. I can't judge what they were seeing or doing on Hato Peak the other day. I mean, that was this thing right here, right? Somewhere in here. Yeah, this is Hato here. And I was guessing that they kind of came in up in here. Why do people take chances? I don't know. They do. They do. And it's calculated risk. The higher level sort of adventure people tend to, go out on and poke out into steeper terrain, which tends to have a little bit more risk with it. I think the guy was 24, so he falls within that demographic of the risk adventure. I know I did. At the same time, I did a lot of stupid things and put myself in a lot of positions where I shouldn't have been in retrospect, decades later when you look at it. But yeah, I don't know. Who knows what, I mean, I made a similar mistake. I remember with my wife, and we're both pretty experienced, and didn't pay attention, didn't, going up this windswept slope, and it didn't probe it. Would have realized where our pit was had nothing to do with what we were, the terrain we were approaching. So a little inexperienced that way. So I don't know, man. You know. Backman knot instead of a prusik? I don't know. Wonder what you mean by backman. There's that French prusik thing. I really like that. Where you just wrap it around and put it through and bang without the shoo. The prusik works. It's proven though. It works really well. So I think it's whatever you're comfortable with. If you're using it for a full-on rescue, I would stick with a prusik, I think. For backing myself up on a rappel, I'll prefer that French prusik or something like that backman knot that slides a little easier, especially on icy ropes and stuff. Because I always put my back up below my belay device, so I don't require a lot of strength to stop the belay. And then when I go to break it, it's just, I just give it a twist and go down. It's not like I'm hanging off of it and then trying to break that. Or I have to unweight it, stand up, take my weight into my belay device, and then unweight that knot to get it sliding again. So I always just make sure that my backup is below my belay device. And then I'm becoming more of a fan of, those like really heavy double sewn sling, like they're loops, but each loop is fully graded, for like whatever 6 tons or something like that. So and then they got sturdy enough that you can use them over and over. But that way I can put my belay device. And normally I didn't like doing that, but now that I've kind of gotten used to it, but I have to have something like a loop, not just a sling. I'll get away with a sling, but I have to have one of those double sewn loops before I'm super comfortable. Oh yeah, nah, I don't think, the backman around the locking carabiner, nah, that never fucking works. Just whatever, doesn't bite properly, it's, doesn't slide. Either buy a pair of Jumars or, and use those, or get the equipment. What's the name? Better for icy and wet ropes and used for rescue. The Bachmans. I've never seen them used for rescue around here. We don't use it in, or we didn't, I don't know. It's a long time since I've taken a guides course, but, and I've never seen anybody use one in that application around this neighborhood. Oh, you're out of Calgary though, aren't you? Spectacular Adventures. Yeah, I don't know. The Bachman's wrapping it in a carabiner thing. Whatever, I think that's a bit of a gimmick. French prusik is my sort of go-to for backup, and the prusik proper, like a 3-wrap prusik for anything that's rescue oriented. I just Just the way I am. That's the way I've done it. I'm not going to change now. Calgary. Sorry to hear that, man. I heard about that place. I went there once. Wasn't a very pleasant experience. It wasn't bad. I don't mind Calgary. Calgary, as far as cities go, you guys, anybody in the world that's listening to this, is not that bad of a place. Not much of a place now that they don't have the Calgary Stampede anymore. Giving those horses a break. No dead horses. No cows with broken necks. No pissed off Brahma bulls. Not much else to tell you guys. There's, I would think about going cragging. I think sunshine, any day, any warm day, and it's good to go. Thing I like about sunshine is roadside left. Check out. No photos, roadside right. No photos, roadside left. So yeah, there's lots of good crag in there. It's a good place. What I like about it is it's only 30 seconds to the from the car to the crag, which makes it why it's so popular, I guess. I don't know how this is going to be with COVID now, with like people hanging out there and stuff. Other low-lying places that are open are probably Grotto Canyon's way overlooked. There's a lot of good climbing there. It's easy to rig to do some top ropes, some beginner stuff, but the Hemingway Wall and things like that are also good routes, which are I think, way overlooked. That's the original start to sport climbing. The first one's in there. Shep Steiner and the boys were bolting up those 513s, and the Calgary Mountain Club got all the fucking panties in a bunch over that. Went out there and greased the holds and flagged the Shep and the boys. My, how times have changed, eh? Oh, you know what it was? Because they drilled a hole. That's right. They drilled a pocket for a one-finger mono pull-up. And the Calgary Alpine Club didn't see that as being too cool. Yeah, there's where this guy was again, eh? Right here. So the predominant winds come in through here. Any more questions? Oh, sling. Previously, those I don't know what those slings are. Those those anchor slings, but they come in loops that are double. I'd go grab one. Here, I'll make you. Why don't you guys watch something and I'll go grab one. Here you can watch Avon skiing again. You know Avon, guys. You all grew up with her, right? Remember when she showed up? She was 6 months old on her first episode. Now she's 13, almost 14. A real pain in the butt. So to go to Skokie, you park at the Lake Louise ski hill, and then you can ski up the valley, or we did a little variation, got a few turns in. You cross 2 passes, Boulder Pass and then Deception Pass. After Deception Pass, it's a 3-kilometer glide right down to Skokie Valley. Bang, he's back. these things, man, like these, like, you know, with the sewn sling things, like with a double sewn. This one's even. This is shorter. I have a longer one for myself. And then an identifiable end loop, and then you girth hitch this through your leg loops and your, um, okay, I love these things. You know, like I can trust it, and then I can just put my belay device up here and put my backup for my belay device below it. And a lot of times and I also use it for the anchor too. So, right, I just take a couple of carabiners, put it together, bang, bang, because I'm using 2 carabiners. Take this apart, slam, slam into the bolts or whatever anchor I'm using, and then just pick the one that's closest to equalizing. And then bang, there you go. I got myself an anchor. Comes out. Then I can use it for rappelling. I just change it over, put it in through my loop, and then I've got variable lengths. If I'm on a steep anchor and I have to lean back or something like that, I can shorten up the length. Just make sure I have a locking carabiner on the end that's tied in, and then I can just either use a draw or whatever to shorten up. So, yeah, I like these things, man. It took me a while to get used to them, but I have to have the double length. I just don't use the slings. The slings themselves, like these lightweight little slings, I don't freaking, you know, like to just hang my whole body off of these things. I know they're strong and shit, but for me, I'm kind of a chicken kind of a guy, so I don't know. To be able to climb the east face of Mount Alberta, what would you suggest to prepare with? 10 pitches of 5-6 or so? Yeah, well, you know what? 5-6 in mountain boots. So if you better be able to climb in proper boots. But that's not a problem on that mountain. You know, it isn't like it's technical climbing per se. You might want to, you're going to have to put in some, you know, a few pins. There should be some in there, and bring some of those lightweight black diamond cams. But, yeah, do more scrambling type stuff that, like you should be able to climb Joy. Go do Joy as a training climb in mountain boots, right? And that would be a good one for you. If you can't do that, you sure as fuck can't do Alberta. So there you go. Black Diamond brand. I don't know what this is. This Metolius, made in the USA, by American. I wonder if Arc'teryx is still making this shit. Remember when this is all Arc'teryx made with slings and crappy harnesses, right? Till they went big time. Anyhow, you guys, I'm gonna check out of here. I got a day. Do I have anything in here that's worth looking at in the old photo market? Our first canoe trip. This is when the kids were really young. So if you got young kids and you still want to go outdoors and shit, take up paddling for a few years. So if your kids are like where ours were at this age, like 3 and 5. Well, then we could still go on these long trips. This is like on the Red Deer River, and be able to go out and do something at least, right? Otherwise, what are you going to do with a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old? Not much. But a big adventure for us is that we weren't paddlers at the time. We're paddlers now, but at the time we were pretty ham and eggers. Even the Red Deer River was like, you know, we'd see these little ripples start screaming like 50 meters before, ripples! And then you get into this little wave train, and then you think you're going to turn over and die. And you get things like this too, though, right? Beautiful mornings, having coffee. There's me, just digging it. Morning coffee by the river. I spent a lot of time by rivers now. That was our first camp. I can't believe we had that little tent. We've got so many tents now. And we were just like camping in that thing. And then when that little canoe, just look at all the stuff we got in there. Yeah, if you put a knot in the sling, shorten it by 50% strength, but you know what? You're still 200% stronger than you needs to be. I don't know why. Spectacular. Where's Joy? It's in Kananaskis somewhere. You'll look it up. The climb Joy, right? So whatever. And it's like 8 or 9 pitches of 5-6 climbing, and should be able to do that in mountain boots. You're fucking not going to change your boots into climbing shoes for on Alberta, are you? If you can't climb 5-6 in mountain boots comfortably and had to change into fucking rock shoes, then you shouldn't be going to Mount Alberta. So, no, why Alberta? You better get some experience on something else first, like a few other peaks, before you start going onto that one. I mean, it's got all kinds of things going for it: weather, height, elevation, difficulty of retreat, remoteness. Yeah. Well, I suppose they fucking do. I don't know. Whatever. Oh, I don't remember changing any. I climbed East Ridge Temple 3 times, 4 times. I can't remember changing my boots. Mount Babel. Can't remember changing shoes there either. Anyhow, hasta luego, amigos. Yep, canoeing. Those were the good old days. No, they weren't actually. Kids required a lot of attention. Got to go, says the tall, dark, handsome alpinist.